Great to see you back for another episode of Low Range. This time round we're still up in Cape York, but we're exploring all the offshoot tracks that rarely get driven. And after watching this, you'll know which ones not to miss on your trip up north. Be prepared for Crocs, no fish, the most beautiful scenery, Gleno filling his stomach, Kenno emptying his, and just about everything in between. There are certain names up here in the Cape that are held in high esteem. They're as etched into the culture of a place like this as the old telegraph poles and the termite mounds. And Bramwell is one of them. Hey guys, we're going to poke on into Bramwell Station. I've been hanging out to go down and have a look at the Olive River out the back.
Yeah, cool mate. Been a long time since I've been to Bramwell. It's a good spot, isn't it?
Oh yeah, too right. You've been here before, haven't you, Kenno?
Yeah, mate, but it's been a couple of years, but it was definitely a place that I noted down that I wanted to get back to someday, so I'm glad we're going here.
Bramwell Station is Australia's most northern cattle station. It's a 132,000 hectare property and was bought by a woman named Wendy Kazika in 2001. She'd actually dreamt that she'd bought the station a week before and she beat the Australian government in the auction. There's a few facets of Bramwell up here. There's the well-known roadhouse that Wendy opened in 2003, predicting that travellers would need fuel before they started the old Telly track, and then there's the cattle station itself. Tomorrow, we head off into the unknown. Only one vehicle has been through the first part of the track to clear some trees. Other than that, we don't know what to expect. So tonight, we're going to relax. Cape York is a remote peninsula in northern Queensland, Australia, and is only accessible by vehicle during the dry season, May to November. We're starting off around 200 k's from the top at Bramwell Station, and the plan is to try and follow the Olive River as far east as we can. From there, we're going to head north and actually do a bit of the old Telly track on our way to the Jardine. Heading west, we're going to investigate some World War II history out at Mutee Heads, and then heading east, we'll tackle the track out to Usher Point. It's a jam-packed trip we've planned, and I can't wait.
My name is Ken, I'm the tourist park manager here. First of all, I'd like to welcome Low Range.
Great meals, great accommodation, the music every night playing away. I love the sound of acoustic guitar. I don't care what the voice is like, that acoustic guitar, it just soothes me. Hospitality, great spot, Bramwell.
I went up to the bar to order a beer. Ken asked me if any of us played any instruments, and I said that John played the mouth organ. So next thing, Ken was up on stage calling John up. John doesn't know that I worded Ken up, but once John got up there, he did really, really, really well. Come on, Gleno.
Gleno, you can do this, mate. I got the power.
Gleno.
Like a real pro.
Yeah.
Riding the bull at Bramwell was easy as. I think I got 5 seconds.
Or sponsored by Plumber's Crack.
Yeah, I'm good at this. But they were a bit harsh on me, you know. Went flat out from the word go. Roothy cheated.
How many seconds was that? Watch your balls.
He rigged it so his went really slow.
Well, I'll show you how it's done, boys.
Yeah, right. I don't think it's got enough horsepower to start.
Oh.
Is this thing broken, Ken?
Hey, it's really hard.
It stopped.
I got it nailed now.
He's having a drink.
I got it nailed. Come on, guys, I told you it'd be easy.
I think he's worried about putting his beard out of place or something. Kenno, your turn.
Is it? I think Ken might have had a twitch and gave the knobs a bit too much of a tweak.
Whoa! 0.8 of a second.
Hey guys, we're heading down the Olive. I think we'll be some of the first people through this year. I know there's at least one crew that's been down there cleaning some trees out, but that's about it really, so it should be a fun couple of days or day or however long it takes.
The Olive, isn't that full of crocodiles?
Yeah, I don't think it's because it's where they make the martinis.
It was exciting to know that we were going to be the first ones through, but we weren't sure what we'd be in for.
The first part of the track where the good cattle were had been well used. You know, you could see that. You could even see salt licks and signs of cattle management. But once we got a fair distance from the homestead, we knew that there'd only been a couple of trucks through, and certainly not since the big rains. And with big rains comes tree falls and all sorts of other adventure. So we were expecting to have a bit of fun. Looks like we might have a tree across the track up here, guys.
Big tree, little tree?
Quite biggish by the look of it. Can't actually see a way around.
Hey, that's a freshie.
Yeah.
These leaves are still green as.
Greenies.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. Could be lightning or something. She's had a big crunch. Maybe it's just old age.
Maybe it just got tired.
Maybe it just fell over. Possibly the rain.
Softened the
It
ground.
softened the ground.
Possibly. It hasn't got much of a root ball on it, so it might be old. But, guys, however it got here, we've got to get around it, I think. I think we're going to be better off going around than trying to get through.
Send the tractor through and then we'll follow.
I think the guys are just used to me slapping on another coat of roof and metal paint every 6 months because it's always Milo that gets to go charging through the trees. I'm not going to pretend I don't like it though. Milo and I make a good team when it comes to making a new track. It was pretty easy going, just high grass and a few little saplings. Oh, and there's always Gleno to move anything bigger out of the way. The Gleno dozer sorts the tree. That wasn't too difficult. With the size of this fallen tree, it'll be one for the dozer to deal with later.
Yo, beauty! It wasn't real technical. I was more worried about these branches scratching the Duco on the 79.
Can't blame you, Gleno. Not many people want to drive a new truck through this sort of stuff, but I've seen you drive it through worse.
Squeaky clean. Not a problem.
Not a problem for you, but towing a trailer through there might be a bit of a different story.
Easy peasy. Oh, there's the bottom of the tree. The big fella. And I'm through.
Ah, Kenno's made easy work of it. On the map and on the VMS, you could see tributaries everywhere to the Olive. Some of them were even called the Olive. So I figured we'd have to cross a few before we got anywhere near the river. This must be the Olive, guys. Coming down the bottom of the hill.
Going down, down, down.
I bet you she's a croc pit.
Feels a bit crocodile-y.
Yeah, this water's a nice shade of brown with deep holes.
Wow, it's beautiful in here though, isn't it?
Never get tricked by the beauty up here, though. It can be a very clever disguise for what lies underneath.
Very pretty, isn't it?
It does look very crocky though, especially up to the left there, big holes.
We'd picked up a map, hand-drawn, at the homestead, but to be quite honest, it was hand-drawn on memories of a few years before, and it didn't allow for the extra wets that had come through and all the other stuff that had changed down there. So it wasn't quite as good as useless, but at the end of the day, this is what the Cape is all about, you know. Every time there's big rains through the wet season, the whole place, like a big blackboard, just gets wiped clear, starts again.
Yeah, the Olive River track, it didn't really turn out to be like really technical four-wheel driving, but it was tight and it was windy and enclosed in a lot of areas and low-hanging branches. That's where I had to keep my eyes open.
Hey guys, this is that little ditch I just checked out. I'm reasonably sure it'll be all right, although the last person through got bogged because they've used lots of crossing logs. I'm gonna second gear lockers just to give myself every chance, but it's a bit of a steep bump too, so all the best of luck, gentlemen. It's had heaps of logs on the bottom. There's buckets of traction. The biggest problem is it's just jumpy because of all the logs.
Into the hole. I think the tow bar is going to bash on this one. Maybe not.
Woohoo! Bit of a step up out of there, isn't there, Gleno?
There is, mate. I'll just wait here.
Easy.
Travelling around Australia, we get to see some spectacular campsites. It doesn't mean we get to camp there though, because we always push on a little bit further.
Well, it wasn't really a campsite, it was just a little clearing. And we needed that because the rest of the track was just thick scrub each side. So the next clearing we found was time to make camp. It was a bit tight in places, there was trees and stuff everywhere. We made a good fire, had a good feed.
I reckon probably once every 10 years it rains during the dry season up the Cape, and this year just had to be one of them, didn't it? We were getting those little canvas wetting scuds almost every night. So there we are, wet, slightly miserable, and Gleno's broken out the big brekkie.
This does not come from drinking only water. It's from bacon, halloumi, pancakes, lots of fat and healthy stuff.
Well, we've finally reached that stage where bacon and eggs isn't enough, and we've got pancakes. Do you know how good that makes you feel when you're wet, lost and miserable? All of a sudden, you're wet, lost, miserable and well fed. Unreal way to start the day.
Thank you guys, this is fantastic. Oh, look at that.
Your turn for the rest of the week.
Perfect, John.
Scooting along yesterday in the twilight on my own out the front, and I forgot that my golf box was on the left-hand side, and there was a tree like this, and I must have just clipped it as I came underneath it. Anyway, there was a huge kabang. I thought, wow, that's way too much of a bang, and the lid got ripped off the box, which takes an awful lot of effort because they really are tough. So at the time, I just put the lid back on, strapped it down, and here I am this morning looking at it, realising that the whole roof rack got knocked back about that much, about 3 inches on this side. That's where it should sit. It's bent all the mounts. It's broken a couple on that side. In fairness to this roof rack, that roof rack's been on Milo probably over 12 years. It's been solid as. It's been a fantastic roof rack. But now we just need to get it to stick on for a little while longer, because it kind of holds the whole truck together from the top
Might
down.
have a soft top soon.
Yeah, we could have a...
Peel back the roof, John.
Hey, we could have a convertible. We knew that somewhere along this track there had to be a turn-off, so we kept picking up anything that looked like a turn-off, and first time round, the turn-off just turned into a little fishing camp. Hey guys, there's another track up here, or what might be a track. I'll just have a bit of a look. It's always easier to turn Milo around than it is, even with Gleno's 79 and especially with Kenno's trailer. So I figured I'd better just duck down and have a look at this one on my own. Thought that might be a track up through there, but that ain't no track. I better go back and have a look.
That's going to be a climb, that bank.
I don't think that's a track, mate, somehow.
Well, it's pretty far off the GPS markings.
Yeah.
So whether this is actually just a turn off to get down here.
Maybe the guys just, you know, knew that it was a nice fishing spot.
We found a second track on the way out that may have led us to where we wanted to go. So we sent John down to suss it out first.
We're trying to find a track to Bolt Head. And that one back there we thought might have been it, but it just went as far as the river. So this just could be it. Yeah, this track's it hasn't had any use for a long time, but it was definitely a fairly major track a couple of years ago. Now, it hasn't been driven for at least a wet season, judging by that up there. Might actually be through here. Someone put a lot of work into this crossing at some stage. There was some pretty serious logs. Look at this. So this was definitely a crossing, and it makes sense too. You know, go through there, and then you've got that climb out on the other side, which is scattered with trees that have been knocked down when the river was running 40 feet higher. You know, this side of 4 days digging, or a little trip down there with a bobcat, it wasn't going to be turned into a crossing in a hurry.
The Olive River track didn't turn out to be what we expected. The whole crew was a bit disappointed, but, you know, in the back of my mind, I wasn't too disturbed by it because we had plenty of Cape adventures to come yet.
We filled up at Bramwell Junction. We ran into a few of the police officers from Bamaga. They gave us a little bit of local knowledge, and then we headed off to Elliott Falls.
We've got about 120k on the Bamaga Road to get to the falls. The falls are on the old Telly track and close to one of the points where you can enter or exit this historic old track. We've decided not to tackle the whole Telly track this time, but we'll get a chance to drive a bit of it. Hey guys, we're heading on through to Elliott Falls for a nice little swim.
Swim? I didn't think swimming was advisable up here. There's Crocs and stuff.
This is all good, mate. Elliott's real good tourist country. It's great for a bit of swimming.
Oh, so what you're saying is if there was a croc there, it wouldn't be hungry anyway because it would have already taken a tourist.
Well, I don't think these crocs ever think there's too many tourists, Kenno. In Milo, you get dusty just getting in the door. To hop in the falls where the water is possibly the purest water on earth, it just tastes sweet as. It's rainwater that's been sand filtered, and the feeling is almost euphoric. It's fantastic. It's just marvellous.
I'd done the Telly track before, but I'd never stopped in at Elliott Falls. But then I found a place to jump off. It was about 4 metres high, so I tried to go back to my Olympic diving skills and pull off a massive manoeuvre. I think I got about a 10 out of 10 for that one.
Yeah, Kenno has come across the radio a few times concerned about crocodiles at Elliott Falls. Crocodiles, Elliott Falls? He had no idea what was about to happen. And I reckon I made a great croc. Big, fat, healthy croc.
How did you get a suit that pulled him in and pushed him out in all the right places? That's what I want to know.
Glenn looked good in a croc suit, sort of like a crossbreed of a Teletubby and a crocodile.
Wow, finally, meet Donald the dinosaur. He could go right on with Dorothy the dinosaur on the Wiggles show. How refreshing was that, guys?
That was beautiful.
Oh, it was unreal, but don't know about the wildlife. Looked a bit funny.
Yeah, I reckon. Okay, well, look, we're heading north. I want to get up to Mutee, but before we do that, we're just going to take another one of those little detours.
Yeah, I know the type. Ones that take 3 days.
Boy, there's a lot of people in Sam Creek. I've been up and down this stretch of track that many times over that many years, and I've seen it go from absolutely just a pristine little creek crossing to somewhere that has been a total disaster. The mud patches just over the other side where the water seems to seep out. But to get there and have a whole bunch of people swimming in the creek and have a fairly easy track straight the way through, well, that's the Cape 2015. Doesn't stop it being a beautiful place.
Yeah, nice shortcut, John. What's short about it?
You're going to love this, Kenno.
I wasn't sure where we were on the actual track, but once I got down into that creek, I remember the moonscape. I'd been through there before. There was families swimming in there because it's beautiful water, but it has changed a bit over the wet season since I've been there.
Wow, there were just so many people around. It was unbelievable. I shouldn't be surprised. It's such a beautiful place to camp. Tonight, though, I'm hoping we end up somewhere a bit harder to find.
Coming out of Elliott Falls, it was cool to do a couple of kilometres of the old Telly track. You know, get a bit of low-range action, a bit of flexing. Well, not too much flexing in the 79. It's too rigid, too much weight in the back. So, you know, airing up. When I say airing up, getting about 6 foot of air under the wheels. It was good fun.
Hey, it was good fun to watch in my rearview mirror too, mate. I don't think Kenno's expecting to get as much air under his tyres, though. We're only going to do one little section of the old Telly, so we chose a really pretty bit.
We had to get out of there. We had to get off the old Telly, as much fun as it was, and get to the ferry, because it shuts at 5 p.m. But we had Sir Ruth with us. You know what that means? That means he gets whatever he wants, whenever he wants, however he wants. The guys on the ferry were packed up, but they unpacked the whole lot, unlocked it, fired up the ferry. Roothy, you know, waved his pearlers at him, and we got the trip across that we wanted. Great blokes, eh? We get off the ferry, it's about 30k run up to Mutee Heads. The roads had a lot of corrugations in them, but they weren't wild.
The funny thing is with Mutee Heads is that I've been there before, but I've never heard it called that. But the little bit I knew was that there was a bit of history up there. Like this bridge over Cow Creek. Would you believe this was actually built by the US Army? One of the reasons I've been keen to come back to this part of the Cape is because I've recently learned about the history of the area, and there's some relics in here I'm keen to try and find.
But once we arrived at the campsite, wow, what a magnificent place.
Some things in this world just don't need words. We were just mesmerised looking at that view.
I was hungry. It was my birthday. It was my birthday. John cooked up a special meal for me.
Well, here we are at Mutee Heads, and it's Gleno's 42nd birthday today. So it's kind of a special day, very special day, especially seeing as we haven't got anything to give him for his birthday, because he kind of sprung it on us. Yeah, cheers, mate. Here's to being 42.
Cheers, mate. 21 twice.
Yeah, I was there last year myself, sort of. Anyway, in honour of that, what I've decided to do is make up a whole new meal, basically everything that I know my mate Gleno likes in one hit. And hopefully it'll all come together and be workable. And we've decided to call it Gleno's 42 Stew, because he's 42. And it sort of suits the theme here too, guys, because, oh, this is bacon, honey smoked bacon, Gleno's absolute favourite.
Is that the hickory stuff, John?
Sorry, hickory smoked bacon, not honey smoked.
Oh.
Good on you, Kenno.
Sorry,
Yeah, good
I
save.
just know my bake.
You know your bacon. In goes a little bit of garlic. That's about 42 teaspoons full. And Gleno definitely likes chilli. I'm just going to start with a little bit. That's about 42 teaspoons full. And I'll put a bit more in later because I know he's just going to say, oh, I need more chilli, aren't you? I was going to put vegetables in it, but then I thought, no.
It's Glenn's birthday.
Glenn's
Don't
birthday,
want to
I
ruin
won't
it.
do that to him. I'm putting in just a couple of kilos of chopped up breast chicken. And Gleno's always told me that when it comes to chicken, he's a real breast man. So in it goes. Now, wherever Gleno goes, he's got bottles of this stuff, which is honey mustard chicken stuff, okay? Now, I don't even know what it does, so we'll put it in. There we go. And we need a bit of lime in there. You're dead right, mate. You like lime, don't you? So I got some lime kaffir here, which is like lime, but kaffir. I don't know. It says it on the bottle. Kaffir lime leaves. There you go. Now, this is something else I know that Gleno loves. This is cream cheese. So in it goes. Well, oh, did you hear that? I think we'll go gentle with this because I'm not really sure how it's going to work. I'll just put the whole bottle in there. And you're probably sitting there going, gee, this is never going to work. But, hey, if you've followed our cooking segments for a while, you'll know that that's a fairly common thought. And it usually does work. Don't ask me why. I'm about to put in some orange marmalade because this is the stuff that Gleno likes to have on his toast at breakfast. So, woohoo, this 42 stew's looking pretty mean, mate. I'm thinking a little bit of curry powder about now. Just a bit. And when I say just a bit, I mean just a bit this time. I'm going to add just a handful of chilli flakes, just to make sure.
A bit more than that.
Okay. Happy birthday, Gleno. Now, there's one more thing that's a real fave of Gleno's, and I introduced him to him a long time ago. I'm very proud of this, actually, because I thought he knew about every food group known to man, you know, chocolate, bacon. What else is there? Beer. But
Water,
no, he'd
beef
never
pies.
met Hokkien noodles. And that's what we're going to put in next. Trying to do it without putting in the plastic bag. Now, there's one more thing that Gleno really likes, and that's a big serving. That is about 8 kilos. We're really looking for an opinion on this. So
Oh, yes.
it might need to cool down a little bit. I'll just get you a little bit to start with.
Well done, John. Thank you very much, everybody.
42 stew works.
Yep. And for my birthday tomorrow, what I'll have.
Gleno's 42 stew.
The only problem is we're not going to be able to have it again. You know why?
Why?
Because he'll never be 42 again.
It's all right, mate. Next year we're going to have Gleno's 43 stew. And we'll put something else in it.
Big rib on the bone or something.
Rib on the bone stew.
The next morning, the sun was out, the skies were blue, and the water just went forever. So we all sat down on the beach and just took in the nice cool breeze.
Oh, do we ever have to leave?
I left my brand new Shimano reel on an island last week, so unfortunately I've had to borrow some gear off Gleno. Glenn's rod was awesome, telescopic, so pretty much means they don't work.
One of these days, some poor fish is going to have the misfortune to swim right underneath one of those heavy things Kenno throws in all the time and get donked on the head, then get itself tangled in the fishing line. That's the only way he's ever going to catch a fish.
No, I didn't catch any fish, as per usual. I don't have much luck with the fishing side of things.
When you think about war in Australia, you always think about it through the people that went overseas and served. When you're up here, there it is. There's tangible, physical evidence that World War II was fought here in Australia, not just overseas.
Did this thing used to spin or what? Is that what it used to do?
Yeah. This is what's left of the radar station. Number 52 radar station was here from March in 1943 to September in 1945, and this was our northernmost defence. In fact, you would have seen as we come up here, did you see concrete blocks and stuff in the bush?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a whole host of military up here because this is one of the most northern points of Australia. They were looking for the invasion, obviously, as well as tracking the planes that came in and out of here. It's amazing, isn't it? It just goes to show how remote this is, really, that so much of it's still standing and you can come and touch a little bit of tangible Australian history.
I can't believe it's still standing. Salt water just over there.
Yeah.
The frame's still very strong, look at it.
There's a few bolts missing.
They knew how to build things in those days. I'll tell you what, there's a few holes up in the top structure.
Yeah.
I was standing at the point where Australia was going to know if we were going to be invaded or not. That radar was the first call.
Hey guys, here's the turn off to Usher Point. She's a rough old track though. I haven't been here for years, but I'm thinking it's probably not a whole lot better than it used to be.
John said that we were going to Usher Point. I'd never been there before. I had been on the east coast, but not up there, so I was excited to see what it was going to be like.
Word on the track has always been that it's a slow one. You know, sometimes you don't even get all the way in. It can take 3, 4, 5 hours and you can be knocking through the bush and all sorts of stuff. And a lot of the local guys would rather just take a quad halfway in and hop on the quad and do the rest.
And the track, I think, was about 30, 40 odd kilometres long. We thought we were going to be in for a big ordeal towards the last half of it. But in the last couple of years, it's been graded. There was one whoop-up, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it a whoop-up because that's the noise I make when my wheels are 10 feet in the air, you know.
It's Flex It Friday, Gleno, so flex it, mate.
Get the air Friday.
That was a mono.
Yeah, you had about a metre under your driver's side front too, Kenno.
The track out there was supposed to be quite technical, but to our dismay, it had been graded recently.
It was a real shock to find it graded. I mean, wow, you know, it's not quite a sealed major highway or anything, but it wasn't hard.
So it didn't take us that long to get out there. So we had to pick a campsite. Plenty of time to look around in daylight, find the best campsite.
So we had a look at the first campsite and, you know, pretty windy, pretty sandy, but it was a real adventure getting to the second one. At last. Track to Usher Point lives up to its name. Well, that wasn't a bad campsite, but I think we should go have a look over the other side so we can get out of the window.
Yeah, it's the only bad thing about it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a beautiful view, but it says no more driving up the beach too. I guess things have changed. Time to give it the berries. No worries. Maybe not for you, Gleno. Let's see if Kenno can push through with the trailer on the back.
Oh, here he comes. There he stops.
I'm not surprised. This is soft sand we're dealing with.
Okay, Kenno, you good to go?
Ready, mate. Foot on, brake, handbrake on, first gear, engine turned off.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, mate. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Now, if there's any truck you choose to have pulling you out of a bog, it has to be Glen 79, doesn't it? It's like Land Cruiser made love to a room. If you get what I mean.
Like I'm dragging you, mate.
I just hit second and she went under 500 revs. I can't believe it kept going. That thing's a powerhouse.
It's funny, isn't it? You know, like the best real estate in the world, the east coast of Australia, up on the cliff face, and there's this termite mound metropolis thing going on, not a house in sight. Wow, those termites have got some classy real estate.
Once we got out to Usher Point, the track's actually got a little bit more technical. and more picturesque as well. It's beautiful scenery.
In this type of weather, you'd almost think we were up in Scotland or something. I mean, it's just amazing. Oh, it gets a little interesting down here, guys.
Soft.
Oh, it's not soft, but there's a beautiful little jump up here. Jumping up.
Oh, well, looks like we found a little bit of four-wheel driving, eh, guys?
Yeah, mate, a bit of a shame that main track was graded.
I guess that's what happens these days, but it'll be washed out next wet season. When I saw the headland itself where we ended up camping, I thought, hope I don't walk the wrong way out of the camper for my midnight wee-wee, because I might end up falling off the headland. It's quite a big drop, but beautiful spot. Just a little bit windy. I'm camped up here on top of the headland in Cape York. It's blown about 50 knots. The wind's actually hammering through. The actual trailer itself is bucking around in the wind, but the canvas and the poles are holding up quite well so far. I just got to sit the night out here, see how we go. It's been a few hours now. The wind's still howling. I think there's something out there. Oh no, I think it's only just the wind. I haven't slept through anything like this before, and I don't think I'm going to sleep tonight. This is just too much.
The East Coast this time of year, it's always windy, you know, even without Has-Been and his chili beans. But it was particularly windy where we chose to camp. Oh, it could be worse, it could be windy!
I was rudely awoken at 8 a.m. in the morning. How could I sleep through such wind, they reckon? Everyone was whinging and carrying on. They couldn't sleep. And they had to jump in their cars and they thought their camper trailer was going to roll over or their awnings fell down. I slept like a baby that night.
Oh, boy, how'd you guys sleep last night?
Mate, I thought the camper trailer was going to get tipped on its side at one point. It was blowing about 400 billion knots.
Well, my Annex pole ropes came loose about 2 in the morning, and the Annex beat me to death before I got out of the swag and put it back together. I don't know, Gleno, you're sleeping like a baby. I mean, you must be used to really high wind situations inside that tent at night. Fair dinkum.
Yes, mate, that's true. I've been able to withstand gale force winds.
Well, seeing as we didn't bring a kite or a sailboat with us, we decided to move on from one of the windiest places on Earth and continue north to Bamaga.
Nobody's calling on the telephone. Nobody's knocking on my front door. It's a cold old wind that whistles round me. So I drink a lot of beer, watch a lot of TV.
Seems to be a feature of the bush towns, I guess. Dog packs running in the street. But you know, one thing that's changed, that's never changed up here. I've noticed there's always been horses up in Bamaga. You always see them on the side of the roads, whatever. But I've noticed a lot of the local people have started riding them again. I'll tell you what, the people up here are the best stockmen on earth.
Every time I come to Bamaga, the welcoming committee, it's like it comes out. People up here are so friendly.
While I was yarning with John and Brian at the servo, they had a 75 they wanted me to have a look at. I think they wanted to trade for Milo, actually, but I didn't have the requisite cash on me. And they gave me, as always, the local hot tips on where to go, because up around the top end here, you know, there's two sets of tracks. There's the ones that are on the map, and then there's the ones that the locals know about. Hey guys, bit of luck meeting up with me mates Brian and John up at the servo. They gave me a couple of tips on different ways to get to the top of Australia.
This looks like a cool way to get there.
Certainly not the normal way.
Well, if we get stopped by anything, we'll just swim the rest of the way, eh?
Oh, this bay's beautiful, isn't it, eh? No better way to do this.
All along the beachfront, you can see the remnants of old fishing shacks, you know, and a lot of these used to be permanent residences before the government started knocking up houses. And you can't help thinking, you know, like, yeah, it's nice to have a house with walls and all that kind of stuff, but by crikey, life on the beach, that'd be pretty good too.
Guys, it's like a perfect spot for crocodilians. Tried to get one to come out of the water the other night, but no good, so I've left the chicken out to bake a little bit.
You're kidding me.
Have you?
Yeah. So
What?
let's see if it works here.
Cool, off you go. Like a lot of people, Kenno's never actually seen a croc in the wild up the Cape, which is no real surprise because even though there's heaps of them, you know, I reckon it's maybe 1 in 10 trips where I've seen them. After you, after you. Escape with confidence. That could be your belly in a minute.
The chicken wasn't in too good of condition anymore. The flies had had their way with it. There's a lot of dead fish in here.
Oh, Kenno.
Fish are dying.
Take it out of the bag, Kenno.
I feel sick now thinking about it, to be honest.
That's our Kenno.
I can't do it.
Oh, Kenno, think of all those crocs hanging out for you to do that.
Oh, the maggots everywhere.
Come on, Gleno.
Soup.
Used to my cooking, should be used to that.
Wait till you have a look at this.
Oh,
Throw it up.
I couldn't handle it. I lost my stomach.
you know what? I can hear a crocodile laughing. Somewhere over that bank, there's a crocodile going.
It was worse than that bait bucket back in Fraser. It was horrible, like 10 times worse.
This next section has me a little uncertain. There's no evidence of other vehicles driving it. That's never been a good enough reason to stop us. My plan consists of
Driving over there.
driving over the other side.
Yeah, John had a great idea of crossing the creek, even though it was low tide, so we could drive further up the beach, as far as we could go. I was a little bit apprehensive because there was no wheel tracks. I don't think anyone had ever done this before.
All right, time to give this a go. I'm really keen to see how far we can get up the beach, so I've talked the guys into trying to make it through this next bit. So far, so good. The sand is hard and I've got plenty of traction. Just as I came through the water, though, I can feel it starting to get a bit boggy. And that's no time to slow down. Oh, and then the end's in sight. Made it.
John went across, it was okay. I actually walked it first. I walked part of it to make sure the ground was firm. There was a lot of shell and a lot of heavy grit in the ground. Obviously, the weight on the rear axle of the 79. It worries me about going through like mud flats. It looked a little bit mud flatty to me.
Gleno goes down. We've lost about, I don't know, 100k. Roothy goes down. We lost $500. Oh, listen to that grunt, will you? I got a big root system V8. Whoa! Gee, that sounds good.
Okay, now that it's all chopped up, is it my turn?
My big concern with the creek crossing was simple, and that is the 3-vehicle rule. In a place like this is what happens, you know? You bung 1 over, 2 over, the 3rd one, the mud's all shimmied up, bingo, you're bogged.
Can't see.
I think I saw a Hilux in amongst all the water.
I think I'm going to do this.
Well done, Kenno.
Season 1 coming to an end. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been fantastic. We've been all over Australia. We've pushed our limits like we promised we were going to do. I've got to do some amazing things. Highlight for me, swimming with the seals. That was awesome. The place that I would say I'd be most grateful in going to see it and being there was the desert when there was water there, because that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But the best part, I think, was Finke River. Water all the way through the Finke River, rarely flows, usually just flows under the ground. It had just come to life.
Well, here I am sitting down for my last interview session for the whole season. 10 episodes. Wow, what a sense of achievement. We had an idea 12 months ago about what we were going to do. We've done this with the best people that we know in the industry. Kenno, John, myself, Gav, Mel, Anthony, even Joshy. I'm really stoked about what we've done. I've got to see a lot more of Australia. I've got to see it in a way that inspires me, and knowing that other people are inspired to see it through our eyes, and to know that what we're doing, other people are following our footsteps and doing those trips as well. That's a huge sense of achievement.
Can't believe that we're at the end of season 1 of LowRange. And when I think about what we've done in this season, well, I got to tell you, I'm so proud of it. I really am, because LowRange, to me, is the best work I've ever done, and probably the best work any of us have ever done, really, because it's what we wanted to do, and that's kind of important, you know? It wasn't about flogging stuff. It wasn't about getting bogged for the sake of getting bogged. It was about touring, about showing off Australia in all its beauty, because this is a massive country. This country's got so many corners, so many tracks, so many things to see, and so much history. It's just opened my eyes to this country so much more this last season. Where are we going to go from here? About the only thing I can tell you is there'll be a green truck involved.
They always get me doing the stupid stuff.
Walk like an Egyptian. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da.
That he even tried to catch dead fish that well.
Looks like all the fish are dying to meet you, Kenno.
Oh, I just popped the plugger. Can you believe it?
Hey Gleno,
Yeah.
I've got night vision.
Looks like he's yelling.
I should put it on back in front.
Clean windscreen.
Yabba dabba doo!
Okay, I am ready to rock and rolling. I only got this to hang on to.
That's it.
Feels a bit familiar. Yeah, this is pretty much a straight through drive.
I've heard that one before.
Shortcut.
I love how the crocodile brings the towel.
The three bears went for a walk in the woods.
What do you reckon, Roothy? You'd be barking if there was any ghosts around. Going off your tree. Get it? Off your tree? It's a tree across the track. Oh. John said we were going to Usher Head. I had a point.
Papa Bear said, look, why don't we take the Toyota?
Look, flies, you're being those really bloody annoying ones. Just knock it off. You want to live in here, you got to behave yourselves, alright? Or everyone's going to get kicked out.
So how's your birthday going already?
Oh, that's awesome.
Mama Bear said, no, I'd rather take the Nissan because it's much more comfortable. I get my hair done?
Your shorts are over here, Kenno. Here they are.
Damn, I'm good. I'm so good. I can work a GoPro. Yo!
Get out. Get out. Get out. That's a wrap. Season 1.